You're in the way. Leave now. Fair enough. Let's head out. What's your name? I'm Kay. I'm a sophomore in college. Just finished my general education courses and will be majoring in economics next year. Pretty soon, I'll dive into specialized subjects, and the job hunt will start. I'm also thinking about grad school, but we'll see. My parents are supportive either way, which I'm grateful for. We're well off financially thanks to my dad's hard work building a business from the ground up. While I don't like to flaunt it, I've never had to worry about money, and I'm thankful to my parents for that. Once I land a job, I'm determined to repay them for everything. But despite how good things might seem, I've got my own problems. They mainly revolve around my older brother and his wife. My brother, Rick, is 10 years older than me. To be honest, we've never really clicked. People say siblings with a big age gap don't talk much, but Rick and I talk, we're just not close. Hey, Kane, run and grab some comics for me and pick up a study notebook. Use your own allowance, of course, and don't forget a drink. I've been doing these kinds of errands for years. When my parents were around, they'd step in, but since they both work, I usually just went along with it to keep the peace. Even now that I'm an adult, not much has changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. Things really shifted last year when Rick got married. His wife, Stacy, is the same age as him. She's beautiful, but she's cold. I didn't like her from the start, and it turns out my instincts were spot on. You've got a sister with wealthy parents. I wonder if Caitlin could give us $5,000 as a wedding gift. Stacy has this way of pressuring me, even though I'm still a student. Luckily, my parents had my back. Kane's still in school and living at home. She'll give a reasonable gift like we did. They even offered to give a little extra, but that wasn't enough for my brother and Stacy. You're an adult now. You need to contribute. Exactly. We'll be family for a long time. Time to step up. I eventually just handed over the money my parents had given me, just to avoid conflict. The truth is, Rick and Stacy are greedy. I tried to keep my distance after that, but they keep showing up at our house, always with some snide comment about me still living at home and commuting to school. So, you're still living with your parents, huh? Don't plan on being a freeloader forever, do you? I don't want a sister who's a dead weight. Seriously, it's so embarrassing. Why don't you just move out? That way, we'd all save on utilities and groceries. Plus, there'd be more inheritance left for us. My brother has the nerve to say this even though he also lived at home during college, and had to repeat 2 years. Stacy's remarks are just as bad. Our parents are still working and in good health, but she's already talking about inheritance. It's insensitive. Anything I say would just fuel their anger, so I bite my tongue. But recently, it's gotten worse. They've started bringing their stuff into our house, even though they live only 30 minutes away in a spacious apartment. Clothes, random belongings, they're just dumping it all here. Rick, why are you bringing all this stuff here? You have your own place. My mom finally spoke up, but Rick didn't care. This is my home too. What's the problem? Besides, Kane has more stuff here than we do. Kane lives here. My mom snapped. Of course, she has more things here. Well, I'm your son too. Don't play favorites between your kids. There's no issue with keeping some of our things here. Stacy's part of the family now, which makes her part of this house too. Exactly, future in-laws, Stacy added with a sly smile. Rick's going to inherit everything anyway. Might as well get a head start, right? They kept dismissing my parents' warnings, but one day, they took things too far. Early one morning, I was woken by the sound of heavy footsteps. Burly men were stomping through the house, following Rick and Stacy as they barked orders. It looked like they had hired movers. What do we do with this? One of the movers asked, gesturing toward some furniture. Leave that, but take that one, Rick said, pointing to items that didn't belong to him. Got it. Following Rick's instructions, the men started hauling away drawers and other belongings that were clearly mine and my parents'. They even grabbed my textbooks and daily essentials. Hey, what are you doing? Stop, I yelled, rushing over. Sorry, we're just following orders, one of the men said, nodding toward Rick and Stacy. No matter how hard I tried to intervene, they ignored me. The movers barely reacted, giving me confused looks before turning back to Rick and Stacy, who had clearly paid them well. Before I knew it, our most important belongings were being packed into a truck outside. Oh, Kane, Rick said casually, leave your money with us. We'll make sure it's put to good use. And hey, take mom and dad with you. Don't worry, we've rented a weekly apartment for the 3 of you. 2 weeks' rent is already paid. You can crash there for now. Your stuff will be delivered there, too. What? You can't be serious. Before I could finish, they shoved us out into the yard. I stood there in shock, staring up at the house I had called home just minutes earlier, but then reality hit me. I couldn't stand there helplessly. I'm not a kid anymore, I'm an adult, and it was time to fight back. I guess I'll have to put college on hold for a while. I'll get a part-time job to get by for now. I just hope my bank book and seal are safe. It'd be nice if Rick had left me some basic funds, but I can't dwell on it. The only thing to do now is head to the weekly apartment they mentioned. It's alright, Dad, Mom, I'm not a kid anymore. I turned to look at my parents. They seemed even more shocked than I was, having been betrayed by their own son. It was my job now to lift their spirits. I expected them to be devastated, but when I faced them, both of them were smiling. Well, that went smoother than I thought, Dad said with a chuckle. And faster than we expected, Mom added with a grin. Wait, what? I asked, completely confused. It turned out they had seen this coming all along. From the moment Rick and Stacy started moving their belongings into our house, my parents had suspected their intentions and prepared for this moment. But listen, Kane, Dad said, people like Rick don't back down when you confront them. They only dig their heels in deeper when you try to reason with them. Exactly, Mom added. You can't go head-to-head with someone like Rick. You have to let them think they've won. That's when they let their guard down, and that's when you make your move. So this was part of your plan all along? I asked, incredulous. Their smiles widened at my question. Look, Dad said, I didn't build a successful business from scratch without learning a few things. It's time you learned some of those skills too. Kane, let us show you how to really handle people. They suggested we head to the weekly apartment for now. I thought we were going straight home to confront Rick and Stacy, but apparently, there was a bigger plan in motion. Under Dad's instruction, I walked as though defeated, pretending to be downcast. I think we're being watched, I whispered as we walked. Don't worry, Kane, Mom said, just act like you don't notice. People like Rick and Stacy love to see others suffer. They'll report back, thinking we're completely beaten. Keep up the act. We reached the apartment, and once we were inside, Mom and Dad's energy shifted. All right, Dad said, clapping his hands, most of the plan's a success. Now it's time to hit back. I'm Mom's QE. Dad made a quick phone call. Proceed as planned, he said, speaking to a moving company he had arranged earlier. One of Dad's trusted employees was overseeing the operation. Soon enough, movers began pouring into our house. Boss, everything's going as expected. Your son and daughter-in-law are looking pretty shocked. As I thought, keep going, Dad replied calmly. From what I could hear, the movers were busy packing up key items under Dad's careful instructions. The sound of safes and valuable belongings being removed echoed over the phone. What the hell is this? What do you think you're doing, barging into someone's house like this? Rick yelled. Do you want us to call the police? Stacy threatened, her voice rising. We're just here on the homeowner's request, one of the movers said, unfazed. Now, could you step aside? You're in our way. Wait, that's my safe with my bank book in it. Where are you taking that? Rick demanded. It's your father's order. We're moving it to the new house. What's going on? Stacy asked, bewildered. I was just about to open it, Rick shouted. Well, it's telling that you don't even know the combination to your own father's safe. That says a lot about how much he trusts you, one of the movers quipped. Shut up, you're just a hired worker, Rick snapped back. Wait, that jewelry belongs to my mother-in-law. What are you doing with it? Stacy screeched. We're taking it to the new home, as per the vice president's orders. If anything gets damaged, you'll be billed. Bill me? I can't afford that, Stacy cried. Then you should probably stay out of the way, the mover replied coolly. About an hour later, the room finally quieted down, and I heard one of the movers speak softly. Mr. President, Vice President, all the arrangements are complete. Sorry to interrupt your day off, the lead mover said respectfully. It's no trouble at all, thank you for your help, my father replied as he hung up the phone and turned to me. Come on, let's head to our real home. He led us to a mansion even more lavish than our old house, grand and imposing in a way that took my breath away. What is this place? I asked, stunned. Our new home, Dad said with a smile. The security here is even tighter. Rick won't be able to get in so easily. And the old house? I sold it quietly. A broker will take care of everything tomorrow. What about Rick and Stacy? Dad shrugged. Not our concern anymore. They might get kicked out, but it was never their home to begin with. They'll figure something out. Exactly, Mom chimed in. Now, we've got a busy day ahead. Let's get everything moved in and settled by tonight. Without further discussion, We all got to work, exploring the new house and organizing our rooms. By the time night fell, we were exhausted but had finished setting up our new home. I was too tired to even think about Rick or Stacy and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, after a long rest, my parents sat me down and explained everything. It turns out they had been prepared for this moment since Rick got married. "Your brother's been like this for years, and I had a feeling Stacy would only make things worse," Dad explained. "So, I made sure we had a backup plan. I always intended to move us into this house eventually. It's a secret even from Rick, so we can finally live in peace." "What about Rick? Won't he try to come after us or cause more trouble?" Dad nodded. "He's not happy, that's for sure, but we've got the best legal team in place, and it's clear who's in the wrong here. If he pushes any further, we'll take legal action." As it turned out, Dad's lawyer had already contacted Rick. Faced with the threat of a lawsuit, Rick gave up on trying to take over the old house. He was left with nothing. But there was more. Rick, it seemed, had been struggling ever since college. He never managed to find a job on his own and had been working at our dad's company out of pity. "I've had enough," Dad said. "There's no place in my company for someone like him. As far as I'm concerned, he's no longer my son. He's fired." With that, Rick, who had no real skills to speak of, was left jobless. Stacy, who had married him for the money, was livid. "Rick, you're worthless without the money. I want a divorce," she screamed, and soon after, they separated. But Stacy wasn't off the hook either. Dad had a quiet word with her employer, and it didn't take long for them to cut ties with her. After all, they didn't want to lose business with Dad's company over someone like her. Stacy lost her job, too, and found herself without the jewels, the mansion, or the life she had hoped for. "This can't be happening to me. I was supposed to live in luxury, to be the boss's wife," she complained, but it was too late. Even her family refused to help her, leaving her completely alone. Hearing all of this made me realize just how naive I'd been. I thought I was an adult, but I still have so much to learn from my parents. They handled everything so calmly, so strategically. I have to strive to live up to their example and ensure I never become like Rick or Stacy. I'm lucky, I still have time before I graduate college. I'm going to keep working hard, following in my parents' footsteps.